a 8 megapixel pan tilt zoom camera with dual lenses and auto tracking. And Reolink have very kindly sent me this video so I can take a look at it and promote their upcoming Amazon Prime Day sale. So you may or may not know this, but Reolink already have pretty cheap cameras. And they're not cheap and nasty, they're nice quality cameras, but they're very reasonably priced. So this 8 megapixel pan tilt zoom camera is normally $159.99, but on the Prime Day deal, you can get this for just $111.99, which is insanely cheap. And in the US, that'll be $139.99 in dollars. So very, very cheap for a camera that looks to be very capable. Now, I've had some dealings with Reolink before, and I've always found their cameras to be very good, and I'm hoping that we're going to find the same thing from this. So basically, we're going to have a look at some of the specs of this camera, and then I'm going to set it up, and we're going to look at see how it performs. And we're going to do that at daytime and nighttime. We'll check out all the features, and then I'll give you my final thoughts and what I think of this Reolink camera. Okay, so let's get on with it. Okay, onto the camera specs. So as I've already mentioned, it's 8 megapixel, which is 4K, so nice high quality image. It's got a wide angle and telephoto lens. It's got dual view and dual tracking. And it's got 355 degrees of pan, so almost a full circle there. And we've got 90 degrees of tilt, so you've got plenty of movement on this camera. We've got 6x hybrid zoom, and I'm very keen to check this out and see how good that is. We've got 64 preset points. So basically this is the points that you can have the camera patrol to. We're not really going to play with that too much today, but that is an option. And most importantly for me, this is a PoE powered camera. So it's essentially a network camera. It uses data cable, so Cat6, Cat5, whatever you're going to be using to connect it. And that will go to a PoE source. So in my example, I'm going to be using a PoE switch, but you can use a PoE injector, anything like that that connects it onto your network. Now it's important to mention that the TrackMix does have other versions. So there's a Wi-Fi version, which is mains powers, but connects to the network via Wi-Fi. And you've also got an LTE version, which is basically a SIM card, and that one is solar powered. But for me, I was most interested in the PoE powered one because that's the kind of cameras that we normally install. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to go into the setup and we're going to see what this camera can do. Okay, so once we've got the camera where we need it and plugged into the network, what we need to do is just do a quick bit of initial setup. And I'm doing this on the Reolink app. The Reolink app is available for Apple and for Android, and it's a free app. Okay, so I'm opening the app. And then we can just press start. We've got to accept a few bits and pieces, terms of service, allow it to use things like Bluetooth and discover things on our network, send us notifications, etc. And then it's going to initialize the device and ask us to create an admin password. I'm just going to use a nice simple password for now. Right, once we create the password, we can just give the device a name. I'm just going to call it TrackMix PoE. And then we accept the terms of service. And the initialization is complete and the camera is ready to use. We can also allow it to access our data, but that's it. Now the camera's there, good to go. Okay, so I should mention there's a number of ways to set up the Reolink camera. So you can either have it in like just as a camera on its own with an SD card for storage. You can use a Reolink Home Hub. You can use a Reolink MVR. Or because the camera is OnVIF compatible, you could use a third-party MVR like a Hikvision MVR, for example. So there are a number of ways that you can set it up. In this scenario, I've put in an SD card for storage. I've set it up on the mobile app, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to access it from a web browser so that I can show you more easily rather than trying to do it all on a phone. Okay, one thing I want to mention is that the cameras don't automatically do continuous recording. So I'm just going to quickly show you how to set that up. It's very simple in the app. We just go into the settings and then we go to the recordings. And then down at the bottom here, we go to continuous recordings and you can set a schedule for that, or you can just select all like I have here and then just press save. And now you are continuously recording. Now, in order to use a web browser, you do need to turn on HTTP or HTTPS access, and then you can log in via the IP address. Right, so I'm logging into the camera on the local IP address. That's the local IP address there. Because I'm using HTTP, I had to put a full colon and an 80 afterwards. If you're using HTTPS, it will be a different port, but it will tell you when you set that service up. Okay, so we just put in our password here, my nice simple password, and we log in. Right, we've got two streams here. We've got a wide angle fluent, and we've got a tracking fluent. Now unfortunately, for some reason in the browser it won't allow me to use the high quality one. It just keeps failing. I did try a different browser, but it's doing the same thing, so we're gonna have to do it on the low. But what I'll do, because this image isn't quite as good as it should be, is I will show you on the mobile app how good the high quality one is, because 4 megapixels is a very good quality picture. So, but we have got the two lenses here, so we can switch between them. At the moment, I'm going to use the tracking one because I want to show you some of the features. So I've parked this vehicle here down the end, and what I want to do is try the zoom. But first of all, let's do some pan tilt zoom controls. So we click on pan tilt zoom up here, and then we can click on here, and it should turn the camera. And it's a little bit slow. It is turning. Reluctantly turning, but it is turning. It was a little bit of a... Oh, it's a bit quicker on the way back. There we go. And then we're back to where we want to be. And we've obviously also got the down as well. And then we can go back up again. So we've got the controls of the camera there. It seems to work pretty well most of the time. When I was using the mobile app, just trying this out earlier, I found it was a little bit laggy at times. But it was pretty good. It seemed to work pretty well. You can also change the speed of that pan tilt there as well. You can increase that. I think 20 is actually quite a good one. If you put it too fast, you tend to click it and it will suddenly zoom round. Okay, so we've got the vehicle over here in the distance, and what I want to do is try out this zoom. So we'll just pull it over. Just to give some context, that is about, straighten up a bit, that is about probably 10 to 15 meters away. So we've got that in at 2.4 zoom. We can't quite read the number plate there, but we are on the lower quality image here. But let's just keep going in. Okay, I can just about read that now. It's probably just going to adjust that in a moment. No, I thought that would pick that up. There we go. So we can quite easily read that plate now. It's given the text nice and clear, and I'm not at full zoom yet. I've got another bit of zoom to go, so we can go to 6 there, and that is really quite clear even on the basic one. I think if I had the high quality image, I'll probably be able to make that plate out as well. So the zoom's pretty good, but we're not talking about huge distances here, and this is daytime. The light isn't perfect at the moment, but it's still pretty bright. So yeah, that's the zoom. I'm quite pleased with that. It allows you to just get some more detail that the camera wouldn't pick up back here from that distance. If for any plate that would be, or for any camera, that would be probably a little bit too far to clearly read the plate, especially with the sort of dappled light from the trees here as well. Okay, so it's important to note that tracking isn't automatically enabled on this camera. So what you need to do is go up to settings here, and then you can go to alarm settings and then turn on auto tracking here, and then you can tell it what you want it to track. So you've got people, vehicles and animals. Now if we turn that all on, tracking method, digital tracking, pan tilt zoom tracking first. We're going to let's do pan tilt zoom. I don't really know what the difference between those two is here. We're going to try that out in a minute. Now I'm going to go out there and we'll get some recordings and see how it tracks me. We've got some sensitivity we can play with here, but I'm just going to leave all of that on the default settings. We don't need a delay. We could do object size, but I'm just going to leave it. We shouldn't need to play with this too much. We're going to see how it works straight out of the box with the auto tracking on. So I'll go out there and we'll have a look and see how it performs. Okay, so now we can see the tracking. This is the pan tilt zoom tracking, and you can see it is following me pretty well. The movement's a little bit jerky. It seems to be happier when I'm sort of staying in a fairly consistent position. But the zoom and the tracking are working, and it is keeping me in shot. And you can see that I walked all the way down there. Like I said, I'm probably about 15 meters away at this point. Comes back, and there's a little bit of a change here. It pulls right out. I'm not really sure why it did that, and then decides to go back in. Gets me again and follows me over there. But the movements are just a little bit jerky. But you can still see me. The image is pretty clear, and obviously we're looking at this on the lower quality stream, but still the detail's there, and it's followed me all the way around. So I'm pretty impressed with it in that sense. It's not lost me once. Okay, next I did the vehicle. The camera lost sight of me, so it went back to its default setting. And then as I move the vehicle up, you can see that it does spot it and it starts to track it. There we go, it's got us there, and you can just about read that plate. Go back round. As I got closer, it didn't really like it. It went a bit nuts here. So tried to focus on the front of the car and then kind of turned around and looked down here. I'm not really sure why that happened. Maybe it was focusing on the front of the vehicle. Okay, so now this is the digital tracking. There doesn't really seem to be any difference in the way that it operates. It's still a little bit jerky, but it is keeping me in position and tracks me the entire time. It just does some funny bits and pieces, but I am always in shot. So yeah, from my side, it didn't seem to be a massive difference. Okay, so the next part we're going to be doing is the nighttime stuff. But before we get onto that, I just want to show you two quick bits. So I'm going to show you how to switch between the 4K stream and the substream on the mobile app. And the other thing I want to show you is how to download footage straight from the mobile app to your phone, so you can share it on, say, WhatsApp or even through the Reolink app if you wanted to. Okay, so I've got two streams. We select one and then we go from clear to fluent, or fluent to clear, to whichever stream we want to view, the high quality or the slightly lower quality one. Okay, so to download a recording, we select the camera we want to go to, and then we go to playback. And then basically in the timeline, we can find the time that we want to get to. And then all we have to do is click the little download button in the top right-hand corner there. And then we can basically select the time we want. It's up to 120 seconds. This one is restricting me to 107 for some reason. But we can select the amount of time we want and what time we want it. And then basically we can click the download button, and then it will download directly to your device. In my case, I've got an iPhone, so it's going to save to my photos on the iPhone. And then I'll show you in a second how clear that image is, and then you can share that however you want to. Okay, so here's the downloaded 4K image. You can see it's very nice and clear. You've got lots of detail in it, and that has come straight from my phone, and then I've uploaded it onto this Mac here. Okay, so before we go on to our nighttime stuff, I just want to show you in the settings a couple of bits here. So if we go to device settings over here, and then what we're going to do is go to light, and then you can see that we've got infrared. So I'm going to leave it as auto, so it should switch automatically when the light is insufficient for the camera. And then basically the other thing that I'm going to do is with the spotlight, I want the spotlight on. So there is a light, LED light on the front of the camera, and we're going to put that in night smart mode. So basically it automatically turns on when the cameras detect an event at night. I am just going to turn off animals because I've got a cat. I don't want him setting it off all the time, but that's what we're going to have it on. So once it gets dark here, we're going to start with this part. Okay, so this first view is just with the infrared. There's no light on at all at the moment. You can see that it's pretty clear. But the next one, I did some tracking, so you can see me walking around here. And you can see the camera is following me and is tracking me, but it's struggling to focus a little bit in this light when I'm moving. Once I stop moving, then it does become very clear. You can see there lots of detail, but as soon as I start moving again, it's got that blurriness. But even at a distance here, so we're probably, I don't know, say 4 or 5 meters from the camera, it's got the detail there. It can see you quite clearly even though it is dark. And again, struggles with the movement. But once I stop, it's quite happy. Okay, so this is the infrared without the supplementary light, and you can see that the results are quite similar. It's very clear actually, even from this kind of distance with infrared. But as soon as I start to move, you get that similar issue where it can't quite focus on the image. But once you stop, then it's nice and clear as you would expect from any infrared camera. So that's it's nice to see, but I would just like to see that focus come a little bit quicker while it's moving. And I think that might partly be due to the fact that it is quite a jerky motion. But again, it gets the detail once you stop. It just struggles with that movement. Okay, so that was the Reolink TrackMix PoE. What a great little camera for the price. I mean, let's just remember on the 8th of July for Prime Day, this is going to be £111.99, which is absolutely insanely cheap for a pan tilt zoom camera, 8 megapixel. It's not like as polished as a lot of other 8 megapixel cameras, but that's because it's a fraction of the price. But to be honest, the functionality is there. It's going to be a good deterrent. It's going to be good for, you know, some basic home security stuff, and you can keep an eye on things. The great things about pan tilt zooms is that they can cover a much larger area. So if you've got it on patrol or you've got it on the AI tracking, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be able to cover quite a wide area for just $111.99. So it's a good camera. In my opinion, you know, if you're thinking about buying it, then go ahead and do it, because you know, why not? You're not going to break the bank, and you've got some great features with this camera. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Thanks very much. Bye.